It's Kringle time. Sit back and relax as we dive into a world of laughter and learning with the Kringle brothers, reminding us that we are better together.
Hey,
Hello.
everybody. How you doing, my brother?
I am doing wonderful. I'm excited. I'm just telling all the wonderful people in the chat and was talking. I completely forgot
I've
track
got
of time.
to turn the chat on so I can see it.
Well,
Hey,
yeah,
look,
because
Steffi's here.
Steffi's here and Santa Doug is getting ready and packing, going to Gatlinburg, which, that's something important because Gatlinburg is coming up this Saturday.
Yes, it is. I can't wait.
It's going to be so much fun. I think that's kind of
Tomorrow.
the main thing here.
I go to Charlie's house and we get all packed in Charlie's place, and then we're off to your place.
Yep, and then we'll wait for Mel to get here, grab a bite to eat, and maybe we'll be on the road. On the road again.
Hey, glad you made it. Yes. Oh, and Bruce is here. Nice.
And Santa Doug is leaving tomorrow morning early. And Zynga Claus. Hello. And Bill Coates is here. Oh my goodness, we have such a wonderful, wonderful thing. So, Michael, how has your week been?
You know what? Just getting ready for, Santa family. You know what I mean? So how's the mood? Good. But you know what was fun? This is, how long do I get? No, to talk.
You take as much time as you want, my crazy brother.
Monday morning with my surgeon. This is my 12-week checkup, right? So this is when you go in, blessing.
12 weeks so far?
12 weeks. It's
been
12 weeks it was 12 weeks Monday. And so I went in for, that visit with him, and it was just so good to see, my doctor, because as soon as he was done with my surgery, he went in for surgery. And so
this is biz.
So my surgeon, he had to have a new heart valve put in. In other words, it was one of those, he had one put in as a child, and now that he's older, it kind of like wore out, and he had to have another one. And of course, procedures and all that changed, but whatever. So he's also been gone, and Monday was his first day back in the office. So his assistants and all the other surgeons and stuff, I saw a couple of, Dr. Fred, so he was so excited, he comes in, and I'm in the meeting with Dr. Fred because, it was his first day back, but he came specifically to see me, and he goes, "My grandson's coming. You are still going to come and visit me with my grandson." I go, "When is he coming?" "Next month." You know what I mean? So he remembered back at Christmas time for the surgery. I said, "Well, if you ever want Santa to visit, I'd love to do it." And so he's expecting me to show up April. I mean, so this is going to be awesome.
It's going to be a great time. It's like not everybody gets to see Santa come in, especially at the doctor's office. Oh, you know what? We have
my backstory a little bit. All right, what am I going to do? Oh, all right, bring him a gift. Tell him I forgot to put it under the tree. It was in the bottom of the bag, and I just wanted to make sure he had it. So this will be fun. So yeah.
Well, we just want to say hello to Jeff Ouellette. He's here with us, and John Buford is here with us too. Good evening, good evening.
Charlie's all packed.
Charlie, I got so much stuff to bring. It's not even funny. It's like I pretty much almost look like I'm moving to Gatlinburg at one point.
It's a good thing we got the truck. Yeah,
I'm telling you.
How about you? How about your week?
Well, you know what? It's been a busy week. I'm helping my lovely bride take care of some family members right now. And so there's a few things that we've been doing. Work is starting to pick back up again. So I'm just trying to doing that. But you know what? I'm just so thankful. I got a lead from Kringle Tracker today for a Christmas Eve gig that I'm looking into, trying to figure that. And I'm still trying to work on getting my Christmas in July events all ironed out. So it has been a lot of fun. Oh, look, see, Kane Smith says, "Hello from Gatlinburg. Been here since Friday. Can't wait to meet y'all." Oh, Kane, we can't wait to meet you either. It's going to be
Boris is online too. Yes.
Oh, Boris, you are an amazing individual. I love all the stuff about all the characters that you do. Hey, everyone coming to my hometown this weekend for SFR. Pack your allergy medicine and get ready for spring break and car show traffic. Oh, yes, it's the wonderful car show back in town.
It'll be fun. It'll
be fine. We'll get through it all.
We should jump in and let's just get talking about. I thought
jumping in.
Well, you know what? I even thought of a good reason. All right, a little bit delay there. I'm slow, but I'm here. Wait, let me. Oh, should I do this? Is that better? I forgot my headlight on.
Oh,
All right, so all right,
ding!
forget it. It's all right. All right, never mind. But one of the reasons why I chose let's talk about wardrobes tonight is that there are a lot of Santa, Mrs. Claus performers that are going to Santa Family, which means
Right.
there are one of the vendor spots. In other words, this is one of the ones that I see more vendors at than a lot of places. And so, which means there's a lot more choices too. Then
can I interject something? Do you think there's more vendors for Santa Family Reunion than for the International Santa Convention?
yeah, I think yeah. My mind's going real quick, going, there's a lot there, but I don't know. It's pretty close. If it's the same, maybe I'm off on perception. Maybe it's the room size and you look at the room. But
well, Charlie says there's over 40 vendors there right now.
I just know that I love going to this show with the vendors. I've got my list of things that I want to upgrade and put into my wardrobe. Back to the wardrobe thing, right? That I know that I'll get more choices, or is that bad grammar? I'll get better choices, a larger selection here than in a lot of places that I go to. How's that? Did I articulate that all right?
I think you really did. I think you did a great job on it.
So talking about wardrobes tonight, well, hopefully it'll give some people some idea of some things at least to look at. I know before I start spending money on a suit or other things or accessories, I mean, my wife will laugh at me because I'll get online and I start researching, not only looking for my best price, but also for the best quality. So price isn't the only thing that I look at going, if I spend more money, but I feel like it's going to last me longer, I would rather go that direction than just spending less money.
Well, I think a rule of thought should be is if you're coming to the family reunion or any type of Santa gathering where you're going to have many vendors there, you should make out a list of the things that you actually want to look at and go, because you're going to be overwhelmed. Because I can tell you right now, there was an open table in the hallway, and a brand new vendor who makes suits and Mrs. Claus apparel actually got in for this table. And I know you're going to have Bill Dendy of Santa's Tailor's going to be there.
Yep.
So by Sherry's going to be there. You're going to have Santa and Company LLC is going to be there. Spangle has a bunch of suits as well too. So
again. So hey, Lewis is on, Kathy's on, hey, Santa Mel is on,
and also Thomas Sheeran's on. Hello,
hey,
how are you all?
Everything. So all right. So when we talk about a couple different things that I have for you tonight, I'm saying this now so I don't forget. One, I have what I classify as a costume wardrobe list where I've got links and names of different companies and people that make them. Also want to talk about boots a little bit, accessories, belt buckles, and all of that. And I have a list all typed up with links, and I'm going to give you the QR code towards the end of the show where you can literally download this. All the resources that we're talking about, the list isn't complete. I'm not going to say the odds are, I know we've probably left somebody off that all of a sudden afterwards going, oh yeah, I should have put them on there too. You know what I mean? But like anything else, it's a starting place. So that way you can start the research, help expedite some things. But suits. So let's talk about two main suits, traditional suit.
Well, let's before we get in. All right. Before we get into that, Michael, why don't you go ahead? Why don't you give a definition of basically what is a wardrobe?
I laugh at this because you know what? I guess maybe I went right past that because my mind's thinking sometimes, when you want something really profound, you want to, go to the dictionary.
Right.
Profound. Let's look up wardrobe and we'll get the Greek and we'll get something really deep and it'll be translated. So what does Webster say? It's a collection of wearing apparel.
Whoa.
Like, I could have had a V8. You know, oh my. So I thought that definition was kind of funny. So that's why I guess I was sliding right over it. But
And again,
go ahead.
and again, the next question I have for you is why is Santa basically uses the color red?
Well, I'm gonna let what you shared with me is a whole lot better than what I thought. I mean,
What's your thought?
I'm used to Tom Villette's comments that red is a healthy woodsman, that he talks about that. But what you looked up on the color red, I really like yours better. So you share with what you
also too is I think some people also apply the same ideology like they do with the candy canes. Why the candy cane is like red and white. The red represents the blood of Jesus, the white the purity, and going from there.
Yeah.
But one of the things I was reading about, and I actually was looking online, and I tried to find a couple different sources. And the one reason is the color red, and this is actually backed by science, is commonly seen as a symbol of love, power, and nobility. In fact, the ancient Celtics believed that the holly plant with its red berries brought beauty and good fortune to their homes in the middle of winter. So the color red has always been inspiring and always been very bold. Also, red is also the color of giving, a symbol of selflessness, service, and a concern for others. And of course, the white represents purity and goodness.
Right. And
now,
royalty. Did you say royalty? I think you made a comment on
no, I actually said nobility.
Nobility. Okay. All right.
Nobility. Royalty, I think, is more purple than it is anything else. But the reason I wanted to talk about this aspect is because a lot of the modern day Santa is based upon the drawings of Thomas Nast from 1869, and also, of course, the Coca-Cola pictures by Simon Heinblum. But I want to hear your classification of the different suit styles.
Right. And one component, I realize I'm kind of opening up Pandora's box a little bit because just to say this, there's no absolutes. I think Santa has a little bit more absolutes than Mrs. Claus and elves. I mean, they have so much freedom to be creative where there's certain things for Santa, and then we'll come with that too when we get to like summertime Santa. So suits, when we're looking at the suits, I'm talking traditional suit. In other words, furs down the front, fur usually at the bottom of the suit. The cuffs are on the fur. Also, there's usually a white fur collar. Or sometimes collar small, sometimes it's larger. Okay, and sometimes there's fur on the boots. You have boot cuffs. That was classified as a traditional suit. Coca-Cola suits are different. In other words, there's no fur down the front. There's large buttons, gold buttons. Down the front, but he has fur in here and has on the collar. Now, some Coca-Cola suits don't have the white collar on it, so there's no collar. I like the version of the Coke suit with the collar, and I've got some pictures. We'll show that later, or we'll just show that later when we get to that spot. But all of that, those two suits, the important part of the suit is that collar needs to be flat. And then when it gets to the shoulder line, that seam needs to be here, and then it slowly comes down, and it's a nice tapered look. So if you have natural shoulders that shrink down, your seamstress or tailor should probably put some padding in here to give you a little bit straighter line, and then slowly curve on that curved line and coming down. We'll show that example a little bit. Your sleeve should come down to the middle of your palm. You know what I mean? So that way, when you're standing there, you don't want it to cover up everything else. Just a little bit down here with that fur, because that fur is gonna, if you have a 6-inch fur or 4-inch fur, depending on the size of that. So that way, when you stretch your arm out, it comes in. It'll come up into this collar that's in here when your arm's out like this, so it keeps covered. We'll talk about long gloves are a good long white. I prefer the long white. So everything I'm sharing with you is my preference. Doesn't mean it's right. It just means it's what I like. And all of the suits, when you look at it, I think, you need to take a good look at when we talk about the inward and the character development and the history of that determines, I think, by your looking in, determines on what you do on the out, and what you want to portray and how you want to portray that Santa, but making sure that you do a good work on the inside instead of just going and getting things, well, because it's expensive. So it's not always cheap.
So my question to you is out of the two suits, the traditional and the Coca-Cola, what's your favorite?
I love wearing my Coke suit, but the majority of my clients want my traditional suit. You know what I mean? So I give them an option. And this is my reason why I like the Coke suit, is that my Coke suit I bought from Sam from Santa and Company LLC. Okay. And he's got I think it's patent, but instead of the regular lining on the inside of the suit, it's mesh. So that wool I can wear all day long. Now, I've got on my traditional suit, I have the mesh lining, and in my Coke suit, I have the mesh lining. But that fur down the front makes that a little bit warmer on the traditional suit. But because of the buttons on the Coke suit and the flap and everything, the way it's cut, I can wear that suit all day long, and I'm not really hot. It's comfortable to me, so that's why I love the Coke suit.
I think you made a good point, though, is you talk to some of the Santas that they say they have multiple suits. But the key is, if you're just about to make your first investment into a tailor-made suit or a custom suit, you should ask your clients what they prefer. Do they prefer the traditional look, or do they prefer the Coca-Cola look, and invest to what the majority of your clientele would like?
Right.
Because as you go along and your career furthers on, you could then go ahead and add in a Coca-Cola suit for variation. In fact, you also made a point too of looking at like continental coats, vests, waistcoats, robes. These are all add-ons that you can use if they're called for, or if you want to actually elevate your wardrobe even further. So
yeah. And depending on, like anything else, you have a wardrobe that's outside of Santa, and I've got a rain jacket. Well, what's the rain? I wear that when it's raining. I've got golf shorts and golf pants, and I wear those when I play golf. So different things, your wardrobe for Santa, depending on, what you do and what you're hired for, that can change. I'm working in Traverse City for Christmas in July with the Traverse City Pit Spitters, the minor league baseball team, and I'm wearing my quote Santa baseball uniform, right? So different wardrobe for different activities and what you're doing. But I know with the suit, we talked about that cuff, the length of it. If you stood straight up and you put your arms down, you want the bottom of that jacket. If it's a regular tailor, it's going to be in the middle of your cuff. You know what I mean? But with a Santa suit, I think it's better to have it a little bit about 3 to 4 inches past the finger length. I like the longer suit. That's my preference, because guess what? The elongating of the suit makes you look a little bit thinner.
True.
You know what I mean? It's, in other words, yes, I realize Santa's got some girth on him. But if I can have a tailored look and elongate myself, I can still look big and full, but it's not massive.
Well, as we're talking about this, Michael, there was a Santa Bruce Nord says most clients don't know the difference there is. And of course, we do have to take the opportunity to educate. And Derek Dugan actually put down, I have yet had any client ask me to wear a traditional or cola suit. And you know what, Derek? Most people don't know the difference, and they just want a Santa to show up, and they don't mind. However, I've actually created what the models say is a go see book. And this way, if I go ahead and especially doing, say, Great Wolf Lodge or theme park or large corporate events itself, I bring in that book during the interview process to give them some variation as to what I
Right.
can and can't do. Because for me, I always viewed Santa's suit as kind of like his tuxedo. It's what he wears on very special occasions, whether it be a tree lighting, delivering gifts on Christmas Eve, or on Epiphany, or even on St. Nicholas Day.
Yeah.
That would be the formal type of stuff to wear. But I prefer more or less the vest, a waistcoat, the boots, a nice belt. I prefer a 4-inch belt because it helps keep my cookie zone in place. But you know what, Michael? Why don't we go ahead and bring up some of the photos right now?
All right, we can do
And
that.
just to
And
kinda
I'll
just-
say this too: the people who ask me are usually photographers. It's not my home visits clients. They just want me to be Santa for them. You know what I mean? But but those who ask on that component are usually photographers, and it's because they know what they want to create and what they want to do. So
Well, also some photographers have an issue too with like the burgundy versus the red.
yep, and I've had
Because of-
to update that because they go, we love your traditional suit, but we want it dark.
Right.
So that's happened.
So right now we have a nice little slideshow presentation to just show some variations, and
So
Michael
just
will
to
go
show
ahead
you.
and walk us through this.
Well, here's Mike's traditional suit. Okay, you can see that the collar is coming down, sleeves are his hands extended, so this is a great layout. You know, I mean, I really like that picture too. And then of course here's my Coke suit. Okay, and so this is the collar I'm talking about. So some Coke suits have that collar, some don't. Okay, and then there's go ahead. You want me to go back?
Well, go back one, please. I believe if you actually go ahead and get a Coca-Cola suit from Santa's tailor, he doesn't really utilize that Peter Pan collar because, in his opinion, that traps in a lot of heat as well.
Right.
So again, you do have to be aware of the environment that you're going to be wearing your wardrobe in, what makes you feel comfortable, and it also gives you some flexibility in movement as well. And then our next slide, of course, is
Bubba. Yeah. And then I love this. This is a little bit more. This is a non-traditional. This is like a Coke suit, but it's got, what we call it, bling. I mean, I don't think that would be the right word to use. What word should we use?
Well, this has been basically very customized to almost give the embroidery that goes down the side to give it the appearance of more or less like a harness.
Right.
And if you look at the detail in the photo, that the embroidery actually goes down to the belt loop and goes all the way down to the white fur at the very bottom.
And then what I love too is they've got the same kind of style, the same kind of look and color, but with this vest that's made. I love the pockets, how the pockets are the loops into the vest too, you know. And
it ties in, but I think for me, I mean, I love Bubba wearing the suit right here too, but Ashley, I mean, just the variation from wearing the skirt from a traditional matronly look. It's a beautiful suit, and this was done by Sherry.
Yep. And then Sherry will sit down and design with you what you want to portray, what you want to know. Like, so I know like Santa Mel has ordered a suit from Sherry, all based on her heritage. Mm-hmm. So all the Scottish and all of that heritage, and literally designed a suit with the embroidery and stuff like that to reflect all of that for her. I can't wait to see it. You know.
Now, also too, is if you actually are going to talk to a seamstress, a designer, or a tailor, you can ask for custom elements. I mean, Santa John Buford put in that his Coke suit, the tailor used a removable top collar to allow him to have some variation.
Yeah,
I do know from a cleaning perspective, some Santas actually go ahead and have all removable fur, so they don't have to. They could take it to the dry cleaner without any fear of turning pink or running or anything along those lines.
Yeah, And then I know like Santa Roger, his is removable, and he washes the fabric. I don't forget the name of the fabric, but he can wash his in his machine at home.
There's a lot of Santas who actually have experimented with washing their suits at home using a whole lot of color catchers to basically prohibit the bleed or turning the fur pink. So
yeah,
again,
well, let's do this. Let's
why don't we finish up the slide? Why don't we finish up the slideshow, then go into a break before we go into accessories?
Oh, we can do that. All right, we can do that. Okay. I just a variation back to what your clients want. I had a photographer that wanted me to look like a cowboy. So I literally took my robe, put in a Western, hat, got a red hat with it, got green gauntlet gloves, a little bit different accessories. And she did a whole step with her clients and their tractors and the cows. And it was kind of a fun set to do with this photographer. So I was a little bit different. So I'm just talking about where you're from, that when we work on character development, that inside, what do you want to portray? What do you want to come across? I probably wouldn't have done without the photographer saying, this is what we want. This is one of my robes that was made for me when I first started doing professional Santa work. A friend of mine was a seamstress, and she made that for me. But then that's back to where we talked about the vest. I love this belt buckle. This is an OBS buckle, and I've got a link to it. This is one of my favorite buckles. And
isn't that waistcoat from Historical Emporium?
Yep, waistcoats from Historical Emporium. And then I added loops to it, on it, got the same fabric, to make that look. And then Summer Santa, we'll throw this out for wardrobe. This is where you can be a little bit more creative. I took a picture of you at the lodge,
Yep.
Your red knickers, your crazy socks, Hawaiian shirt. I'm not sure, is this the swim top
Yes, that is the swim top. Yep, the top is the swimsuit top from Historical Emporium.
And then again, mine, that's the bottom. So I've got that same top and bottom, but I've covered it with Hawaiian shirt, for this photo session. And then just to let you know from last week, yes, I have full sleeve tattoos, and this is how I handle the summer. I wear white compression sleeves, to cover that up.
And that picture was actually in New York?
No, this is in Michigan. This is at one of the lakes
Michigan?
In Osceola County. I think it might be Montcalm. Close. Okay. It's West Michigan. It's close to where I live. This is just one of the lakes that we got here in Michigan. There's what do they say? There's a lake every 14 miles or 15 miles in Michigan. And so I thought I'd show you this one. In other words, we're talking about wardrobe and things change. Here's 30 some odd years ago, my elf, 7 years old, right? Here's the difference in it, but beard and accessories. Yeah, things have changed. And then here's my elf. This is my 7-year-old. I got to officiate my daughter's wedding. Now she loves Halloween. So literally for her wedding, it was a costume party. And so she was dressed up as the bride of Frankenstein. Her husband was dressed up, as Frankenstein. And oh my gosh, it was such a fun wedding. So of course, Santa got to officiate it, which was a blessing to me. So this was just that look. I thought it would be fun to show kind of like where I started my first suit kind of thing to how things slowly changed, So yeah.
So why don't we go ahead now and go to our contributors video, and then we'll come right back with you and we'll start talking different accessories.
Are you going crazy managing clients, contracts, and invoices? Kringle Tracker is here to help you. Stay organized with ease. Keep your sanity in check with Kringle Tracker's intuitive tools to effectively manage your schedule and clients. Our seamless, customizable contract system allows you to tailor your contracts to you and your clients' needs. Prepare for tax time like a pro by tracking your income and expenses and generate reports to make it a breeze. Transform your Claws business by signing up for a free 20-day trial. Kringle Tracker was created by a Claws for the Claws community so you can focus on making magical memories for your clients. Head over to kringletracker.com and sign up for your free trial today.
We're back.
I love taking those little breaks like that. And remember too, is if you don't have insurance, Larry Talbert with his insurance is really important, because not only are you protected by insurance, Larry also insures your wardrobe and your props. So if you're thinking about getting any insurance, contact Larry Talbert.
That would be good.
So now we talked about the different kind of suits, and we talked about different variations of it. Now let's talk about a little bit about accessories.
Well, boots are a main accessory. I always, when I forget the first time I heard it, but it's one of those things when you hear it over and over and over again, it must be important. Excuse me. And, I've always been told that when a child comes up to you, usually they're always looking down, and the first thing that they really look at is your boots to make sure that they're polished and that they look authentic and genuine, So I have motorcycle boots is my boots that I have that in those pictures you saw. And I like Milwaukee motorcycle. They're engineering boots. And then I had them, took them to our tailor and had our boot guy and put those boot buckles on it for me, or if I'm going to put any kind of changes, he's very gracious and does that for me. So I also know Ride Tech boots. I know a lot of Santas that use Ride Tech boots, and then there's Santas that go to Nick's boots that they're custom to your feet. A little bit more money, kind of thing. You know what I mean? But so Spear boots are no longer there. I wish I would have got a pair before he went under, or not under, that's the right word, before he retired.
But I did hear though that there is a company that ended up purchasing the Spear boots, and they're also making them as well too.
Oh, nice! I didn't know that.
Even from the regular type of boots or the large toe boot, more of like I don't know,
clown boot toe. Nice. I didn't realize that was cool. You'll have to get that.
Let me interject this real quick. AJ, no, you did not miss trivia as of yet.
Yeah, nice.
And Thomas Sheeran says Chippewa motorcycle boots have been used for years as well.
Nice. Yeah, like I said, this is just a starting place, and I've got links to these. They're not, the list isn't complete. It's just a starting place. Things that I've seen. The other thing is like when you're out on a gig, I bought a backpack, and I bought a snowboarder's backpack. In other words, a snowboarder backpack, you unzip it and they got those big old snowboard boots they put in, and then there's a top for their helmet. So literally that's what I bought, to take with me if I'm traveling. So my boots fit perfect in there. The top section for the helmet, that's where my belt goes, all my bells, my pockets, all of the accessories that I put on me fit perfectly in this snowboarder boot bag, and so it just makes it so nice, strap over my shoulder, and I can carry it in.
As we talk about boots though, the Nick's boots, they'll basically run you roughly right around $800 for a custom made pair. Now you could go onto Amazon and you can buy the Ride Tech boots, which is a motorcycle boot as well, for about $150. But even if you are just basically getting started, what is it? Pro Santa, not Pro Santa. It's the company. No, it's the company in Philadelphia right now. They actually have a professional Santa boot that is kind of like a Naugahyde leather but it's a really good boot to start off with. It's not going to just whatever you do, unless you're forced to, is don't wear boot covers.
Yeah, the boot covers
I
are.
mean, it really changes the perception or the image that you're trying to portray.
It's back to that
Um,
first perception of that child,
right.
is this real, kind of thing. And so good polished boots. So I'll always make sure that in my emergency bag, and I'm out on a gig, I always have shoe polish just in case I need to clean something up.
Thank you, Charlie. Yes, Planet Santa is the company I was thinking of. They have a professional Santa boot, and you even have one too for larger calves as well.
Yeah.
So that's great. Now, from the boots,
Options.
there's plenty of options, but really, truthfully, you could buy boots that already have the fur attached to them, or you can buy boot covers.
Cuffs. I love the cuffies. And
Or
my cuffs, two places. I've made my own. They're not too bad. They came out all right. But Adele's of Hollywood, I really like. I've got a pair of hers, and then I also have a pair of boot cuffs that I bought back to Great Lakes Santas. They always have Spirit, and they made boot cuffs, and I don't know who made them. I'm sure one of the ladies there for that organization made them, but I bought a pair for hers, and they were absolutely wonderful, and they're still holding out really good for me. And I like the boot cuffs because I can take them off and I wash them more often, because my boot cuffs get, with the car coming in and out with all the snow and the salt and the junk, my boot cuffs, they take a beating. So I always go with a second pair of boot cuffs, because I'm always rubbing them on something with the car.
You bring up a good point on that too, is you should actually, if it's within your budget, you should actually have multiple pair of boot cuffs with you, because if you have multiple gigs in a day and you live in a region that gets a lot of snow or could actually get really sloppy out, whether it be mud or snow, it's something that you're going to have to take into consideration. Get in and out of your car or truck or sleigh or anything else that you may be using for transportation.
So that's boots. They're there. The next thing the child's going to take a look at is your belt.
Oh, belts are important.
And so the width of the belt, like you made the comment, I like a 4-inch width. I like that big, that bigger belt goes around the cookie zone, my girth, a little bit better. And so there's lots of options. I know that you'll see belt options all the way from tailored and hand hammered with designs and different things. I've seen belts, for Santa with all the reindeer on them and faces on them. I've seen simple just with holly on it and just plain black. I mean, it's back to what do you want to show with it? The most important thing is making sure that it's cleaned and it's well presented. And black is a traditional color, but the Coca-Cola, there's some Santas that do brown boots with a brown belt, because that's in some of the Coke. So those are some of the options. So I know that at the family reunion, you're gonna see that. I've got some links on here for high-end, the Creation. I really like New Creation Leatherworks, and their custom work that they've done is gorgeous. More than the leather work, I love the guy's OSB buckle. That buckle that was on the pictures, that's an OSB buckle and absolutely gorgeous. Now I do, Stuart Deacon is taking, if you're interested in, he's literally designed a clone of the Tim Allen Santa Claus movie buckle. And he's got, right now he's doing orders for the boots, but then the waist buckle, belt buckle will be next. And I love his design. So I'm hoping that all works out. It's just, it's going to be gorgeous.
Well, there are some brilliant, I mean, when it can, not only from belts, but like you said, the buckles. I mean, Billy Brown of Virginia makes some amazing belt buckles as well. Lee Andrews is actually getting into selling belt buckles as well. He has 4 different types as too.
Yeah.
So again,
Well, and then
You're
he's adding to that because I know Lee's designed some of his own, and then he just purchased Pronos, which Leon had a couple different buckles in his, so I think he has the rights for those now too. And then he's working on the website right now. So if you're interested in Lee's buckles, I don't have a website on here because he's having it made right now, but you could instant message him. I am him on Facebook, and I'm sure that he'd get a picture of those buckles for you, and you could get a look at them, and they're gorgeous.
Or you can contact him or talk to him if you're going to Gatlinburg. He's actually teaching a couple courses, so he will be there as well. So again, if you get an opportunity, just stop in and ask him. And yes, Scott, Spangle Stuff for Santa has a lot of different buckles and in all different price ranges as well.
And styles and colors, and it's back to what do you like?
Now, as we're talking about belt buckles and belts, there's also some other things that you can add to your belt, such as key holders, if you walk around with Santa's magic key, or in some people actually use a pouch, whether to hold candy canes or other little trinkets or tidbits as well too. Again, the point is to make everything cohesive and all work together instead of just having so many different conflicting elements. You want to keep your whole persona very unique to yourself, but yet not so outrageous.
Yep, that's right. Yeah. And so it's back to what do you want to present, the encouragement of whatever you decide on accessories and stuff. Just make sure that it's clean and it's groomed well.
I think one other accessory too we should actually look at is hat bling.
Yeah.
Because I know you make some wonderful hat pins. And again, it's a point of finding something that you truly love. And I know Michael has generously gifted me a few hat pins, which I wear all the time. Another avenue that you may go with is contacting.
Spangle's got those holly pins that I love.
Stuff for Santa has the holly pins that you can put on there too. I wear those as well. Or you can contact Derek Dugan as he actually produced the ambassador pin.
Yes.
And that's actually a nice, that's a really nice element to put on too. And yes, just looking at this, yes, Billy Brown has some beautiful belt buckles, even not just for Santa, but for Mrs. Claus and the elves as well. Yeah. Dells of Hollywood has a belt that comes with the suit. When you get it, take it and throw it in the trash and get a leather belt. Beautiful suits, but man, those belts are so Amazon. That was Santa Mike Connor.
All right, I agree with you, but and then all the start. Remember how ugly my picture was when I started? You know what I mean? And I had that, but it's changed. It changes, Michael. We encourage the change.
Right. So right now is, you know what we didn't run, Michael?
What?
Why don't we do the dad joke? And then when we come back from the dad joke, we'll go ahead and do trivia.
Oh, all right. Here we go.
Why can't your nose be 12 inches long? Then it would be a foot.
Thank you, Santa Jeff. That was pretty funny.
Could you imagine you had a hook right outside your nose like that?
Foot? It's a foot.
It's a foot. Huh? Oh my goodness. Well, you know what? I have basically 8:43. So let's go ahead. And Michael, you want to read the trivia?
Sure.
All right. I'll bring it up and you read it.
All right. In Sweden tradition, a common Christmas decoration is a small figurine of a goat. What's it made out of?
Ooh, that's a good question.
So this is back to tradition in Sweden. You betcha.
Yeah, you betcha. No.
I've got some fun stories of going to Milwaukee. There's a lot of Swedes. When you go to the Upper Peninsula on US 2 motorcycle and coming across. Oh my. Yeah. So, have you been watching I haven't been watching.
I've been watching him, and no, we've got a couple responses yet right now, but none of them are the right answer.
Oh, wait.
We have it. Way to go, AJ. Oh, nope, I take that back. There was one person before you, AJ, that got it, and that is Zynga Claus.
Oh, that was close.
That was close. AJ, he just slipped right in. We kind of sniped you a little bit on that one there, too.
We're
So
talking
Zynga
second
Claus.
minutes.
So, okay, so the end. Let me write this down here so I don't forget.
Well, yep, write it down, and then there's that's made out of straw.
Out of straw.
And then
right.
if you would please,
let's just go back to here and go ahead.
Zynga Claus, if you'll email us your name and your address.
We're just doing it all together.
And your t-shirt side. Wade asked us to get the t-shirt side too, depending on what they're going to give. So I'm not promising it's a t-shirt. I just know that's the information they would like us to send to them, and we'll get that to them after the show tonight. And also your name will be entered in for the drawing
for North Pole Cornerstones.
That's correct.
So again, and even if you just want to contact us, again, we've had some responses of some topics that may be coming up in the future that we could go ahead and address as well. But always reach out to us at the kringlebrothers2@gmail.com. Again, that email is kringlebrothers2@gmail.com. And if you'd like to, you could always follow and like us on Facebook or subscribe to us on YouTube at the Kringle Brothers.
We'd appreciate that. Leave a comment.
Yeah.
If you would. And
leave a comment. Let us know where you're from, how you like on the show, what we can do better.
Now, bells. Let's jump into bells.
Oh my goodness, bells. Bells are wonderful. They're loud. They're good for a good entrance.
There's so many options for bells. I know one of the things is when I get there, I know Wade's gonna have some bells.
Speaking of Wade, you have to run his commercial.
Oh yeah, we forgot to do that. Normally I do that for the show. Forget it. All right, we want to
do the commercial now.
Since its founding in 2004, Santa's Closet has been committed to providing unique, high-quality accessories for Santa, Mrs. Claus, and the entire Claus community. Our mission is to deliver exceptional customer service and outstanding value, offering competitive pricing and a wide selection of products designed to enrich the Claus experience.
Sorry, Wade. Glad you remembered. My order got thrown off. And normally all right.
So now we're talking
people, just to let them know I'm not perfect. And
no.
And all of a sudden I heard all the angels sing amen.
But no, I mean, you just brought up bells. I mean, I've been, again, fortunate for you because where you live out there is a large Amish community. And you have the wonderful
tax show. Oh, their tax shop. Oh,
but they're pure brass bells. We have what a 3-foot bell strap and then like a 6-foot bell strap. And I'll tell you what, these bells have such a tone that literally people stop what they're doing to find out where that's coming from.
I just love that.
Go wrong.
Yes, yeah. So if you have an Amish place by you, that's a resource for you. I mean, go to the Amish store. I mean, here in northern western Michigan, we have a lot of an Amish community, so there's a lot of options. But Weaver leather bells, they have the same kind of bells that we have. You can get them from there. I know Wade has a lot of the same bells, and you can buy individual ones. I remember sitting through Wade bringing this tone, and then literally putting tones together for what I wanted it to sound like, and then making a strap out of those too. But
let's just be honest, you're just trying to
bells. I mean, a lot of people have bells for your wrist, for your ankle, for your boots, for your top, for underneath your hat.
But also take in consideration to this, if you work with special needs children, especially autistic children, the loud noises, the bells can actually upset them.
Yep.
So if you have any questions or you have any concerns, it doesn't hurt to ask, but bells are wonderful. I know people put bells on their boots so they can walk down the hallway and get that nice little jingle going on that way. I mean, it's amazing. I've seen the
Tons of
parade harnesses
variations.
with
Yep.
bells on it.
So
But
it's back to this is just a starting thing. Just encourage you. You pick what's best for you. A fur brush, I'd recommend getting a fur brush, as accessory.
oh,
I
yeah.
mean, I'm always brushing my fur, cleaning things out, and so Spangle has a great brush that I bought from him that I love. Garment bags, some garment bags, especially if you're traveling, like, I mean, I always have a suit in the car, especially when the season's in full swing, because I'm doing so much traveling. You just back to making sure, so I just keep a suit in the car.
But you bring up a good point now too, is for those that do have garment bags, make sure that garment bags that can actually breathe. You don't want to actually store your suits in a pure plastic bag, even if it's a plastic garment bag, because if there's no air circulation in those bags, your fur will actually tend to yellow.
It can tint and yellow, yep.
And tint. So just be prepared. I mean, I keep mine in a closet with like a cedar hanger or just cedar, so I keep all the moths away.
And I like fireman hangers to put my suit and stuff on. Those big, heavy industrial hangers. They can take the whole suit. They can take a licking and keep on ticking, kind of thing.
Spangle sells those, doesn't he?
Wade does. Spangle does.
Wade.
But I'm sold on those hangers. I mean,
yes, I have
hangers break and bend, and those are and gloves are the same way. You're going to see lots of different gloves. This is just what I like. I like the longer glove, but I also like the cotton spandex glove. They're just tighter on my hands, and I like that feel to them. So some people are just all cotton. Like I said, I like the cotton blend with spandex. I like a little bit tighter, just because that's what I like,
Well, also, as you mentioned too, is like with the suits that we get from Senta and Company LLC, they have what they call parade sleeves in them. Yep. So there is a piece of satin that has elastic right there at the wrist. So if you are waving, the suit doesn't ride up, so they actually see the exposed skin on your hands. But as you said, if you buy the longer gloves that go up to your forearm, you'll never have that problem with that. And again, the cotton spandex are really nice and are durable, and you can wash them.
So, and I've bought gloves from Wade. I've bought gloves from Spangle. I've bought gloves from gogloves.com, and so those are links there. The summer links, I like knickers.
Yes.
And so golfknickers.com.
Golf knickers, and you can get them for about $80 a piece, and they come in a variety of different colors as well.
Colors, shapes, and sizes, but knickers and those are really fun from the summer. Swimsuit wise, and even shirts, I've gotten at historicalemporium.com. And they've got knickers too, depending on the look that you want to come across and do. And then my last suggestion that I will throw out here is suspenders.
Oh, good point.
I've bought the clip-on suspenders before, because Santa pants are usually a little bit bigger. When you're talking about the pants, you don't want them so big that you've got this big droop in the back, right? Because you can get this big wide droop if the pants are way too big. We don't have to worry about the break and the length of them as much, as because a lot of you tuck your pants in. I know I've put stirrups on my pants to help hold them down. I've done that, and tuck them in, but you don't, like I said, the break is where the bottom cuff of the pants lays on the top part of the boot. On the backside, it's a nice trim, and it's usually about 1.5 inches from the ground, up to on the heel. So, but you don't have to worry about that as much in the Santa suits. Just making sure that the suit is cut properly, so it's not all wrinkled, when you're standing or when you're setting, which is important. But suspenders, I love the button-on suspenders, and I would recommend getting a good pair of suspenders and putting them on.
Where do you get your suspenders at? I got mine from Carhartt.
Well, Carhartt has them, Duluth has them, and you can get them. And then I know Sam sells them, but I like the little bit heavier 2-inch, a little bit more booth. But Carhartt and Duluth, those are those two brands that I really like a lot.
And also too is the buttons that you can actually put onto your pants. You can actually buy those from Amazon. And all they basically are just something that you can like put on there, and you can take a hammer and it goes right through it. So you can actually you can put the suspenders on any kind of pants that you want, whether they are the knickers or Santa pants or something like that.
So let me take this banner off.
Yes, take the banners off so we can actually go.
So, there we go. So this link will take you to this 3 pages that I typed up for you all. Like I said, and there are links in this file. It's a Google Docs, and this just gives you some ideas of searching and looking, hopefully to expedite some of your hunting and finding. That's all this is, just a little research kind of thing. So, but there it is. That's the QR code. That QR code will be good for a week. And then, of course, then it'll be gone.
Now, as we close tonight, of course, as we're talking about wardrobe, this is the Nutcracker from Boston Scally, in case you wanted to see it, so you can actually look for it for next year.
Nice.
Hat. Now, Mike, what are you wearing?
I'm wearing. It's not a Boston. This is Mel gave this to me. Santa Mel.
It's a gift. It's a gift hat. That's even better.
So I love the coloring of this, and this is back to her. She gets some great stuff. She loves Highlander stuff, and so. Yeah, this was a gift from my sister.
Now,
I don't know where she got it, but I like it.
Hey, it's all good. Now, regarding next week, as you know, we have Santa Family Reunion coming on, as we talked about at the beginning of the show. So it's a possibility that next week we won't be on. But
I was thinking
never fear.
Or we do a review, or maybe if I'll have my laptop in the car, maybe I literally can put together a show from recordings of things that we've come across.
Or we can always just jump on, and you always have to be prepared. That's why you should follow us on Facebook or subscribe to us on YouTube, because we love to actually do lives coming from the car, especially when Charlie drives.
It may be a unique show.
We just talk about everything, and we will be in the car for 9 hours. So.
And we'll see. We'll see. How well, we've got connection, kind of thing as we drive home.
Well, worst case scenario, we'll always see you at a Buc-ee's.
Oh, I can't wait. We'll be by Buc-ee's, won't we?
Oh, and Santa Scott said, join the TNL booth for live remotes.
Oh yeah, that's right. I forgot.
TNL Production. Yeah, TNL Productions is going to be there. We'll be there too. And for all those that are attending Gatlinburg Santa Family Reunion, if you see Michael and I walking through the hall, or you want to attend our lecture on Tuesday, don't be afraid. Just come on up, talk to us. If you want to take a picture, we'll smile for pictures. See?
Yeah,
but no, don't ever back down, and we're just going to have a good time, and we're here to help, to talk, to answer questions the best that we can. And mind you, this is what works for us. This may not be for everybody, but this is what works for us.
Like I said, the link is just a starting place, But I'll encourage this, and I'll say this again, that everything that I wear and all of those shirts and the things that I've made, and suits and buckles and all of that, my research on my character development all determines the money that I spend for the outside, because there's just, it's overwhelming sometimes and so many choices. So, so just work on the inside, and then that way it'll help you make those decisions for the outside.
So again, If you have any, your feedback is great. So again, please follow us and like us on Facebook and subscribe to us on YouTube, or contact us at kringlebrothers2@gmail.com. Zynga Claus, please make sure that you email us your address and your shirt size so we can get that to where we needed to get to, so you can get your prize for winning.
And
All right, Michael.
We can't wait to see everybody at Santa Family.
Oh, yes. And again, a special thank you goes out to the TNL Production Network, Bob, Scott, Spangle, and Angela, along with Mel, along with Sean White, along with
Mike,
Phineas,
and
again,
Spangle and Scott, the whole team. And I can't wait. I'm hoping. Do you know the guys who do the opposite, polar opposite? Are they going to be?
I don't know if they're going to be there or not. That'd be something we have to ask Mel
about.
I hope
so, because I haven't had a chance to meet them yet.
Nope, I haven't either. And then again, also a big thank you to our lovely wives, Linda and Stacy. We couldn't do this without your support and your love. And especially thank you to the viewer, each and every one of you. You're very special to us, and we do really appreciate you.
And that's not a tongue-in-cheek thing. We really, we really do appreciate your affirmation and your encouragement. And because we're better together.
And that's the word. So, I mean, again, you might see people walking around with that emblazoned on their chests. So,
yeah. All right. Never mind that. So, everyone, thank you again so much, and blessings. And remember, everyone, may your life be filled with encouragement, laughter, and fellowship.
And may you find the magic in every smile that you inspire, and always live with a heart full of Christmas magic.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye now. And they're still here with us.
There's still people on.
Oh my goodness! I tell you, we have some of the most we have some of the most amazing people who join us on this each and every time, and I just can't wait to meet some of you all in person. It's going to be so much fun.
All right. Have a good night, everybody. Blessings. Bye-bye.
Good night.